This episode of A Hero's Journey podcast is brought to you by SMP Inc. right here in Las Vegas and now different locations all over the country. I want to thank my boys Marvin and Tyler. Thank you so much. And then JPS Computers out of Oregon. Whatever you need websites built, you need help with social media. Alex and Jesse, those are the two go-tos for us, JPS Computers. It's crazy. My name's Brian Hopkins, and we go through life trying to figure out how to move forward, how to keep just stepping through these new adventures. And you never know when you're going to meet somebody who's going to they're going to be in your life forever. They become a friend, a brother. What do they say? There's people that you meet for just a day, a season, forever kind of thing. And the most random way to meet somebody, my next guest actually will get into how we met, but it's kind of crazy how we connect on so many different levels. And we're two different people. I mean, we're two different people, but we connect on all these different levels, which is amazing. He's my friend. I actually had to ask him at the beginning of the show because I know him by what they call him. I know what I call him. And then his last name. It's Lou Tanuis, everybody. People call him Wheels. What's up, dude?
How's it going, man?
How you doing?
Good.
Don't be afraid to talk into the mic. That's for sure. But welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And we talk about this. We laugh about this in text at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, or whatever, because we connected because of our cats.
Yep.
We both have cats. At the time, it was a different cat, if I remember right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Bones. Yep.
Yeah, Bones.
Yeah.
So one day, Lou and I, it's a pandemic.
Right.
We both had to get jobs. That I hadn't had a real job in 10 years. And one day I'm like, I'm going to go get something to eat. And you're like, I'll go with you. And I'm like, I didn't think this guy liked me. This is no joke. I swear. I'm like, seriously? Is this guy going to take me in the back alley? What's up? But dude, we're walking, talking, and we get back to sitting down and eating. And I actually said, yeah, my cat. And you're like, cat?
Yep.
I have a cat. And we ended up bonding that way. And then I found out you're a musician and all these different things. And then, I want to get into it today. The things that you've been through, because you showed me a picture. You, where are you from?
I'm from Connecticut originally.
Really?
So East Coast, yep.
So
I was there till I was 28 years old.
Connecticut.
Yep. And then I got to a point in my life where I was drinking like crazy, ended up crashing a brand new car, got in an accident, dealt with all that stuff, and it was just time for a change. That small town, everybody's still stuck in the same thing, going nowhere.
Right.
I had to change it up. So I moved out to Utah for a couple years and just changed the scenery, started over. And then I moved down to Vegas 2018 after the accident, which you were referring to earlier. So.
Yeah. So because I know you.
Yep.
And it's to the listeners out there, and I forgot to mention our Rock Rage Radio listeners out there. We'll get into this because like I said, you're a musician as well, and the conversation that came out of a lunch was sitting across from you, and I remember you saying to me, that was 10 years ago. I don't want to do music. I can't do music on the level that I was doing it. And I looked at you and said, why not?
Right. Yep. I remember
what stops you from doing music? And you said, I needed to better myself. I needed to work on myself. Why? What made you stop music at that time?
At that time, it was my son, because he was only 6 months old at that point. So I was going on tour all the time. That put pressure on a relationship with his mom, so that ended up doing what it did. But it was just really tough to leave, 30, 45 days at a time.
Right.
And your kid's just growing up. So I had to make that decision to cut it off and then step aside and let somebody else take that spot.
That's big of you, and that's big for your son as well. And that's here's the thing. That's discovery because I forgot about that. I
Yep.
forgot. So your son is how old now?
He'll be 17 in January.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's a man.
Yep. Getting there.
That's crazy. Okay. So, well, here's the thing. So then backing it up to, we were sitting, same lunch, and you said, I got into an accident
Yep.
that, could have ended your life. Because we both ride. We both, what are you riding now?
Well, I just had a street glide, but I'm going to get another bagger.
Okay.
No more dynos, man. I can't do it.
Why?
They're just not comfortable for me.
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
ride them anymore.
No, and the long rides too. And I've watched you go through all these different things. I've watched you go from being injured, from an accident. Tell me about this accident and then we'll get into what you did after this accident, which inspired me, and will inspire you guys. Trust me when I say that.
So it was New Year's 2017 to 18 that weekend. I decided to come to Vegas on my bike in the morning just to come down and spend time with friends. So I got to like the Charleston exit right out here.
Yeah.
And a little old man in the car just sideswiped me. I really don't remember much besides I had, the bars like this. They were shaking. I heard a snap like a tree branch.
Oh.
So I found out later that snap was my hips breaking in half. My pelvis snapped in half. It's called a open book fracture. And it's called a killing fracture because most people don't survive that. And yeah, so then I hit the barricade so hard it threw me like 20, 25 feet back into traffic. And a lady just happened to see me get thrown off the bike and pull her car in front of mine, or pull her car behind me, stop traffic, and then she was sitting with me on the ground.
Really?
So, yeah, so when I woke up and looked at the sky, I knew instantly my hips were broke. It was just like a...
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
So I didn't know my back was broken yet. All I knew is my hips are broken. There's something wrong for real. And then the lady said, I'm a nurse. Just stay there. Don't move.
So that's an angel.
Yeah, so
I'm a nurse.
Right. So she
serious?
was like making sure I was good. And then, I was laying there. I don't know how long. You kind of just like zone out at that point with that kind of pain.
Right.
But I remember the fire department came. They cut my clothes off, got me in the ambulance, got the IVs going. And then after that, I don't really remember much. But it was me sitting in the hospital. They got me in. They found out that my T12 and my spine crushed. So like the vertebrae crushed. From the impact of it, yeah. So I ended up about a month in the hospital total and then 6 months in a wheelchair. Going from like 212 pounds of muscle, a couple years before that playing semi-pro football in Utah.
Really?
Yeah, inside linebacker and special teams. It was just fun, but and then here I am in a wheelchair for 6 months, can't stand up, and I went from like 212 to 165.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean...
So how do you come back from something like that? What makes you say, you're not supposed to live from this? How are you coming back from this?
I think it's just part of my personality, man, being
Right.
stubborn, I was like, I'm not going to be in a wheelchair my whole
Right.
life. I'm not going to do it. So they end up doing four operations. So 2 on my hips. They fused the side of them and then put a plate in the middle with 4 bolts to hold my pelvis together. And then they fused my spine with 2 rods and 10 screws down my back. Yeah, my lumbar to my thoracic, I think. And I couldn't stand up for 6 months. I was in a wheelchair. I was completely dependent on my ex to take care of me, and she had to like everything, bath.
Right.
Like I couldn't stand up. So I'm literally like a child all over again.
Right.
And
Who's
now,
aware of it though? You're aware of this.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're aware of what's going on and that somebody's having to take care of you, which is
It was really tough to go from like completely independent.
right.
You're not going to knock me down to here I am like a fragile, broken. I mean, that's the best way I could put it.
Right. Right.
So that was like
What year was that now?
it was 2017 into 18 New Year's weekend.
Okay.
That happened. So it's been 5 years now coming up.
So here's what's crazy because I met you after, and like I keep referring to this lunch, but this lunch actually built this kind of bond, this thing that we saw something in each other that hey, we can be friends.
Yep.
And we have these connections, and the hair standing of my arms because it was real.
100%.
And the thing was, you tell me about this accident, you're coming through it, and I see that even then you're going through a lot of pain. You were still hurting, and even just sitting. And then one day I see you, and you can barely get around.
Yep.
But you go and tell me, I'm gonna compete I'm going to compete in was it powerlifting?
Powerlifting competition, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, excuse me, what? What are you talking about? Like, it's right now we're just trying to get healthy.
Right.
And you're like, why? Why would you do that?
For me, that was like the inner demons of it, man. Like when I was sitting in a wheelchair and you're just stuck in your room, you get inside your head and you can go to dark places in those times, you know? And that, me doing that competition was showing myself and everyone around me pretty much that I'm still here, I still got it, you know?
I love it.
I mean, there was good and bad with it though, you know?
Yeah.
I had people that were really supportive of it and then people being like, oh, well, you can't be in that much pain because you're powerlifting. Not realizing that I was only like 45% back to my full self and that's pretty much the level I'm ever going to be at, between 45 and 60% really.
It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks though, man. They're not you, they're not in you. They're not the ones walking around. You are the hero of your own story. You're telling your own story, and that's what we talk about on this show.
Yeah.
I want to inspire each and every one of you out there with my guests and to get messages from people saying, "Hey, the guests that you've had, it's like they were speaking to me."
Yeah.
And that's what this is about. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Right.
And so for you, and you did well in this competition, which I thought was really cool.
I mean, I got third in my age group. It was cool. I brought home a medal. You know,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But like, I used all of that because you find out in those situations who your friends really are.
Right.
Who are the ones that are really supporting you when like you got nothing, man. You can't. There's nothing for them to gain by being your friend. That's when you like can sort out the people that are there just for other reasons, you know?
Right.
So I used all that. I got through the competition, did it, and even now I'm only probably about 50%. I ended up injuring myself after that competition even further. So I twisted 3 vertebrae after the competition on top of the injuries I have. And the last x-rays we did were last year, I believe. And they took all the stuff out 2018 in my spine, but my hips still have all the metal. And they found that I have scoliosis because of the injuries.
Oh, geez.
And on top of that, all the scar tissue around my spine is starting to deteriorate. So like every day, even just sitting, just existing hurts, but you gotta figure out the way to just walk through it, you know, and not be like that weak. I can never be that person on the couch that's like, help me, you know?
Right.
I get up, I do what I gotta do, I go to work, and I try to do my best with what I can with it.
You know, we're sitting here off camera. We were talking about my brother and my brother going through. I'm trying to raise money right now for him, it's a last ditch effort. Like he's on borrowed time right now. They gave him 3 months to live, and that was 3 years ago. But he's finding it hard to breathe. He's on oxygen every day. He got a job. His insurance went out, and my buddy gave him a job just driving.
That's awesome.
And so he could have insurance and things, but it's stem cell. We're going to get him. I'm going to help with the help of everybody out there. We're going to send my brother to another country.
That's awesome.
And get this shot. But you were saying that you looked into stem cell stuff.
I've been looking into it, yeah, because at this point, there's not much I can do. Like, I'm guessing it's probably gonna be another operation on my hips down the road because walking lately, it's getting like worse and worse.
Oh, wow.
And even just getting up in the morning, sometimes my wife's got to grab me and like pull me out of bed because I can't sit up anymore. But I try not to let that like affect my overall, throughout the day. So it's turning that into something that you got to find for motivation. You know, you got to dig deep inside and be like, all right, this is what I got to deal with every day. It's not going to change, but I'll figure out a way to continue my life and live the best I can.
Right.
That's pretty much where I'm at.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. You know, on another note too, off camera, you had mentioned something to me that I remember, but you know, like, cause we never really talk about like anything outside of just the things that we connect on, music and cats. Exactly. And shout out to Bones. We miss you, dude. You now have a new family. You know, every time you text me, you got, hey, look at the new family member. And it's beautiful. Me too. I got a puppy, now along with Kitty and my cat. But our cats brought us together. And then there was music. I know I'm pivoting here, but I want to touch on these things because I remember when we met, you had asked me. I mean, I asked you why why'd you stop music? And you told me.
Yep.
And then you had mentioned to me that it was the 1 year anniversary of your brother passing coming up at that time. And
It's been 3 years already.
I know, but this is at that time,
Yep.
that same launch.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to talking about it.
Yep.
And all of a sudden at like 2 a.m, you sent me this long text, and it was a letter to your brother.
Yep.
And in that letter to your brother, I said to you, this is a song.
Yep.
You just have to take this much information now and squish it down. You knew that, though.
Yeah.
You're a songwriter. But from songwriter to songwriter and friend to friend, again, because you know your brother's here with us, you know, and he's hanging out watching you do this going, don't mess this up, Lou.
Yeah, right.
You know, like, but the anniversary was coming up, and I stuck you in the studio.
Yep.
I was like, hey, on the day of your brother's
Yeah, it was,
passing, we went in the studio and we cut a song.
That was awesome, yeah.
Yeah, what was that like that day?
I mean, that was a lot. I mean, the craziest thing now is like we're 2 weeks away from the anniversary. Again. Yeah,
Whoa.
so that's this month, yeah. It'll be 2 weeks. It'll be 4 years he's been gone. So, actually, again, I sent you lyrics and I sent
Yes,
you a
you
song
did.
that's
Tell me about
already-
it.
Okay, so the song's called A Vigil for the Departed, and it's like that first song was opening up that door to deal with it. And this is like, if you've ever lost a family member or a pet, anything, you know that never goes away. It's just the way you deal with it and how you process it, right? So this song for me is still being like this is really fresh. It's still there. It's not like it hasn't gotten further from my thought. It's still there even more every single day I wake up, you know? So that was for my dad and my brother, that song, because I lost both of them within like 2 years. And yeah, I sent you the lyrics to that.
You sent me the lyrics and you sent me the unmixed
track.
I listened to it on the way over here. I saved it before we came on the air. And one, you've come a long way. Two,
Thank you.
I could tell you are you're a songwriter. There were things, again, your kind of stuff is like really heavy.
Yeah.
And you do that thing that it's a gift. I cannot sing like that.
Yeah.
Like it would give me nightmares to have you singing. Ashley's got to be like, you know, either she loves it or is that the devil? No, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I can relate to it, and I could listen. I heard the chorus, and I heard these little things that you were doing.
Yep.
That I'm like, there's the hook. There's these. I understood what you were doing in this song,
Right.
and I also knew where it was coming from. So I had read the lyrics before listening to the song.
Oh yeah.
And I think I pictured the video in my head and the lyrics running on it and stuff, because you want to convey that message. You want, you know, people need to connect and see that.
Yeah.
But what was really cool was like maybe 3 weeks ago, a month ago, you had texted me and said, hey, I'm in a band.
Yep.
And I went, what?
Yeah.
Dude, and not just I'm in a band, here's our first single.
Yep.
What's the name of the band?
It's Altars of Aaron. Everybody says it weird, Aaron, but it's Aaron. So it's
Okay.
an old Celtic god. And you know me, I love all that old.
Oh, I know you do.
Old gods and pantheons and stuff. So I literally sat for like a week. I'm like, what am I gonna name this? And like everybody uses the Norse stuff. You know, everybody's on the Vikings kick and all that stuff. But you know, I'm Irish and Lebanese, so with the Irish, the Welsh, Celtic stuff, that's the road I went. So like everything down to the song is like, the first one's called Awakening. So it's like him coming back, you know?
Exactly. It's so perfect for
Yeah.
you.
And it's kind of like I'm speaking through what he would see, but I don't know. I just made it really like for me, you know, because this is my band, and my friend BJ Sampson, he's the reason why I have the band. He writes everything for the musically.
Yeah.
And then we got 3 guys to join afterwards that are now also writing, that are like killer musicians, you know. And
What are their names?
it's Matt. Matt's the drummer. He's from a couple of big bands. Shadow of Intent, which is a huge metal band that I love. I was a fan of their first album. He was on it. BJ Sampson's from Enterprise Earth, which he did the first 4 albums. and then up to Luciferus, which I was a huge fan of them too. You know,
That's so cool.
it seems like in our kind of music, especially, like, you're fans of your friends.
Right.
You know what I mean? And two of the biggest reasons I came back is my friend Ricky Hoover. We used to tour together years ago. And my friend Nick Arthur, you know, he was just like you, like, man, you got to get back into this.
Just like I was.
Yep.
I just kept pushing.
Yep.
It was something, putting you in the studio was for that, just for you to taste it again, is the best way to put it. And then also to honor your brother that day. And it wasn't like you could go back and record that song and do that and put it out on a record. But it was like a demo. But it was just for you to taste that again. And then I would see you on social media jumping up on stage with other bands and doing that. And I said, dude, you play, I will come support you. I will come see. I don't know that music, but if anyone's introduced me to it, it's you. Because randomly you'll send me videos of check this out. And I have and I'm blanking. They call him Blood Boy. This dude has millions of views on his stuff. And he's a friend of mine now and a fan of what I do. And he's like, I want to come sing on one of your songs. I'm like, wait, what? You want to sing on one of my songs? Like, so, you know, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't have understood even a little bit of that if I didn't. I met him out in Virginia. He was playing on the, what tour was that? It was a big festival, Blue Ridge Festival. And he was playing on that stage the first day, and we became friends.
That's awesome.
But again, I think that gap was closed because I met you and you introduced me to that music.
Yeah.
And then to follow you and be a part of this journey with you. And I didn't, you know, I want to take pride in, I stuck you in the studio, but all I did was reintroduce you to 100%. The thing that you love. Even when we were off camera and I was like, hey, you know, tune in tomorrow to, you're like, what's up? And you said, you know, being in the industry, it's about connecting.
Right.
It's about connecting with the audience. And that is huge.
Right.
And relating and writing music that is going to relate to them, but also make them want to turn it on and hit play multiple times.
Right. Yeah.
You know? So where do you want this to go? Are you shooting music video for this?
So first
single?
We already got an entire EP written. We're just in the process of the next singles coming out, which is a demo I sent you. And then we got another 5 songs to record. So we're plugging away at it. But, you know, everybody's old. Everybody's got jobs. And we got families that we got to do. So this is like, we're doing it for fun. But we do have a music video planned for the fall.
Okay.
So that's going to be huge because I've never got to do a music video. So this will be like my first music video.
Dude, I want to see that. Oh, I just thought of this and I forgot about this day. Remember the day I called you up and said,
oh, yeah.
I
knew that
see. No, I forgot. I was not going to bring that up.
I knew it was going to come up.
Okay. Well, you did. I didn't.
Yeah.
But same day, we're sitting at that lunch, and I had mentioned that, like I have been around Corey Taylor.
Yep.
You know, I had went to a couple of places with him because we share the same producer, Jay Rustin. And you're like, if you ever get the chance to be in the same room with him, you call me, I'll drop everything and I'll be there.
Yep.
And so it's like coming out of the pandemic, they're still, you know, checking your temperature to walk into places at times. And my buddies, the Moonshine Bandits, were shooting a music video. And they hit me up and said, hey man, we're in town. Do you want to come to the video shoot? So I tell my girl, we're going to, you know, let's go to the video shoot. And then by the way, Corey Taylor is featured, you know, he's featured on this song and he's going to be in it. Plus his wife and the girls that they do. What's the name of that group?
I think it's the Cherry Bombs.
There you go. Cherry Bombs. Yes. And, but I didn't know that until we got there. So I hit you up and I was like, dude, what are you doing tomorrow at this time? You're like, why? I'm like, can you be there? You're like, why? I'm like, just come. Just get your ass to where I'm saying to be.
Right.
We walk in and we're hanging out with one of your heroes.
Yeah, man. I mean, I started listening to Slipknot at 12. So like that, he was a huge influence on me for becoming a vocalist, in this kind of music. I remember being 14 years old in my room screaming the Slipknot songs, like, so that was like kind of a full circle moment for me, and I mean, he ended up being awesome.
He came over and hung out with us all day.
Yep.
He could have went anywhere in that room and sat at any space, but he came and hung out with us all day.
That was huge. I mean, even lyrically, like, you can tell the influence that band has had on me over the years, and that was a really huge moment for me, and that was cool, And I remember we were sitting there talking a little bit, and I said, man, I dressed up as you for Halloween in junior high school, I made the Corey mask, and I had the jumpsuit and everything, and that was a huge moment, and now I appreciate you doing that.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
It was just one of those things, like this connection that we have as friends, and that's what you do for your friends.
Yeah.
And that was exciting for me to sit there and watch that, and to be around somebody who he was headlining at that Blue Ridge festival, and there were thousands of people, and I'm getting to be right there and hang out back and see him control thousands of people in a show.
That's wild.
And I even posted I posted a clip of him stopping the show because someone went down, and until they were okay, then they start the song, and he's like, yeah, let's start it right from the bridge. Boom. And he says that, and they go right from the bridge on. Yeah. And that had the most views I'd ever had on my personal page,
Slipknot fans.
Yeah, exactly. But I had no clue, but it was instant. It was like so instant. But he's such a cool guy. He was so nice to us. I got to hang out with his band. He's doing his now Corey Taylor, the solo stuff, and Jay Rustin was producing it. And every time the band would come into town, we'd go hang out at the Tiki Bar.
That's awesome.
He wasn't there, so I didn't have to call you. But if I walked in and he was there, I would have called you. But all his bandmates were, and Jay, and even Daughtry showed up one night, and we were all hanging out, and it was just, who's a friend, and it's a lot of fun. But so I know you're saying that, okay, so you there's the accident, the injury, there's when I met you, you had a girlfriend, and now she is your wife.
Yes, she is.
And I love how much you love her on social media. You're always posting that you found.
It took a long time and a lot of crazy exes to get to this point. For sure.
Yes, and we all have to go through that though. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not that all mine were crazy or anything like that. I'm not calling anybody out, but until you find the one that makes you feel like, oh yeah, we were meant to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
that was, so going back to the thing with the accident, is like, you rely 100% on somebody to take care of you, and that was a nightmare, man. So trying to deal with like a crazy person that you're with and deal with the stuff you're going on, it's a lot, Yeah. And at that time, I think you know this, but I couldn't really do much for work. So our only income at that point was doing adult entertainment.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for like 4 years, that was the income that I had, because I can't do physical stuff anymore, and that was its own devils and demons you got to deal with.
Right.
That whole industry. But yeah, I mean, life's been pretty weird, man.
You just sprung this on me on camera. I had no idea. My boy Lou was a porn star. What? How cool. I'm going to be like this. I'm kidding. I'm not doing that. I don't want to see you, bro. Sorry. I love you.
We'll keep that separate.
Yeah. I don't want to scroll across. No. But life is weird, man. We go through and we do things. And like you said, you even mentioned off camera, you're like, man, you kicked drugs a long time ago. So, how long has that been?
It's been about 6, 7, coming up on 7 years. I got really bad into, and I got no problem saying it.
Yeah.
I was really bad with meth for like 2 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep. So once that dug its claws in, And I struggled with that for a while. And it took one of my best friends coming to me, who was also a drug addict, saying, man, listen, if you don't kick this, I can't be around you anymore because you're going to drag me back into this. And he's the reason that I got clean. And I owe it to him to this day. You know, like if it wasn't for him to pull me out of that, I probably would have went further down the road and just ended up in a really bad spot.
Look where you are now.
Yep.
And you're a tattoo artist now. Is that what you?
I'm piercing full time. But
Oh, are you?
Yeah, yeah. It's
No
pretty cool.
way.
Yeah. I've been doing that for a while, but then last year I was tattooing for a little bit, but piercing's my home, man. Like, I like tattooing; it's cool, but I've been a piercer since 2007, so that's where I'm comfortable in.
Okay.
Tattooing's cool, but I don't have the passion for it like some people do.
Oh wow!
You know what
I would pass out. When my son was little, I remember him like his earring got caught and like when I say little, he was a teenager, and it got caught on this thing, and my daughter had to help him because I was like, oh, who's it? And here I am, Dad. Like, no, I don't know how you do it. That's awesome, and I love that. Like you said, passion for it.
Yeah.
This passion, but I see you getting into and pushing boundaries into these different areas, which is really cool.
I can't sit still, man. My whole life I've been like this. Like I've known that there's bigger stuff out there. That was
Right.
like why I moved. I didn't want to be the same small town, grow up, have a family, and retire and die in the same place. There's more to life than that. And I think music took me there. I got to tour 44 states. I've been to Canada. It just the traveling, man, like that itch to get out and just explore the world. Like I still have that.
It's something really cool because like my girl will go, hey, let's plan a vacation. And in a way, what I do for work feels a little bit like a vacation at times. I get paid for the travel.
Right.
Because when I take the stage, I'll do that for free.
Yeah.
That's what I love to do. And and you get to see in different parts of the country and parts of the world, and by creating something that comes from us.
Right.
I don't know if it's channeled through us. I don't know what it is, but like
you can't explain it.
No, I know.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. It's like when I read your new song and the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that way of like, this is how I deal with things. You found a way to kick drugs. It's music that centers us, that keeps us normal, and then to have this, like you still ride. You've been in an accident, almost killed you, but yet that is another passion. That is something living on the edge kind of stuff. Piercing is you're doing that, and most people don't do that. I can't even like watch getting a shot. You know what I'm saying? A flu shot or anything. I was like, I don't get them because I don't deal with that stuff. Where did that come from in you?
So one of my friends, he's gone now, but he was a huge influence for music too. Mitch from Suicide Silence. I'm still really good friends with Dan. He's a really good friend of mine. Been 16 years coming up on friendship, and I was a kid. I was in my early 20s, and I was like, man, what can I do that I really want to learn and just something to push myself? And Mitch was a piercer back then, and I just asked him, hey, man, how do I do this? He said, go to a tattoo shop, ask them about apprenticeship, and just get your foot in the door. So that's what I did. I ended up going to this shop that luckily was hiring, and I did 6 months of my apprenticeship, and then I've been piercing ever since, and that was 2007.
Wow.
Yeah. But it seems like all of the connections in my life come from music. All of the support system comes from music, and like
I'm sitting here from music.
Right. And like some of my best friends in the world, including you, are from music and from that passion. Like you said, you can't put into words when you get on stage and pick up a microphone and you're looking at the crowd, but like, what I'm talking about.
I do. I understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
and we
like,
do it on different, meaning not different levels. We have, I'm very pop / country rock type of thing. And it's like this metal thing.
They call it like deathcore, death metal. Yeah. So this is the craziest part is coming back to it now and talking to my friends that are from the same generation of the vocalist. Now they got techniques for how to do it.
Oh,
now
yeah.
They got different names. This is this and this is this technique. And it's just like, I remember being a kid being like, okay, I can make a growl sound, so I'm going to do it.
Right.
And now there's like a science behind it. It's wild, like how the industry has changed like that.
Yeah, because I feel really bad, but Blood Boy, like I see his tour lists and he's playing 4 or 5 nights a week. I'm tripping because he sings like that and it's really deep and really loud.
Yep.
And he said, "Oh, it's a technique."
Yeah, it is.
And then he can stop and sing a melody to me, and I'm like, "You got to be kidding me!" It's impressive, but that's these gifts that we all have. And I got to tell you, man, like we've come a long way, you and I, but we've been wanting to do this for a long time, and this was a perfect time to actually do it because you do have your band is dropped a single. Plug that single again.
So it's called Awakening. The band's Altars of Aaron.
Okay, and that's on Spotify, iTunes.
Spotify, YouTube, iTunes. Yep. A couple guys did some reaction videos to it that are pretty cool. Seeing like people react.
I saw you share those to me. Yeah.
So it's fun. It's doing really well. And the next one, we're like coming up on the final stages. So my friend out here, Josh Bearden, Nevermore Recordings, he does the mix master and everything.
Okay.
And he's where I go do all my vocals with. And like him as a producer, man, he's helped me take my voice to a whole different level that it was never at. Like,
that's awesome.
Coming back this many years, I can say that this is the best my voice has been at. Just technicality wise, like everything. I'm at the top of my game now for sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
Because that lunch, you said, I'm done.
Yeah.
There was no hope. There was no thinking about doing it. It was not a possibility.
Right.
And you have to go after. We get one go around, guys. Go after the things that make you happy. Go after the things that people say you can't do. If you believe you can and you can put in the work, you can make it happen. 100%. And dude, you're the most interesting person I've had on this show. And you're my friend, but it's crazy that like you dropped the adult film industry on me to get by. You know, you drop these things on me that
was the downfall of that relationship, man. Like, we worked for a big company, which whatever, and it's like 7 days a week. You got to film 7 days a week. From 5 to 7, you got to do this, this, and this. But like, fame does different things to different people, right? So by the time we ended it, I think my ex had like 700,000 followers on her page or whatever it was. And we were doing, a lot. We were doing really, really well. But that fake, false sense of like, those people, got to her head and made her believe that was more important than anything else. So you can see people chase down that dream too and eat them alive.
Yeah, well, just like anything, chasing down social media or whatever, and we're told you got to post every day. You got to, I don't enjoy it, but I enjoy connecting. I enjoy getting to share your stories with people out there. And if I don't have a following to do that, then they're not going to hear your story, which is inspiring.
Right.
I
just try to live my life like this is who I am. And if you don't like it, cool, keep going. And if you want to be part of it, here we are. But I mean, me, like when I first met you, I was really quiet.
You were. I didn't think you liked me because you were so damn quiet. No, I swear, man, I was like having to work with you and I'm like, I'll just do my thing and he does his thing. And I just, I don't know. I get to a point where like, you don't let everybody in anymore. You know what I mean? So you're kind of selective with who's in your life. And, with the back thing, man, I'm in pain every single day and I just try to keep a positive attitude, but I take pain stuff to get by. And that was another thing. Like I relapsed into my addiction a couple years ago and I had a really hard time with pills. Like just chasing, not even a high, but chasing a moment where you don't feel pain anymore. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the look on your face. And when I was talking to you, you just seemed angry.
Yeah.
You were angry. And I'm like, that's not my boy.
Yeah.
But see, I've always, my relationship to you is I have my little brother.
Yep.
And I've always said, you remind me of my brother.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you do. And he takes the stage. He was a musician too. And when he takes the stage, it's like there's not enough stage for him.
Yeah.
He just owns it. And I've watched you do the same thing in these videos and the things that you do. And I'm like, yep, I knew it. He's so much like my brother. It's crazy. So, you know, I just want to continue to watch you do what you're doing and look into this. This maybe us talking about it today, talking about the stem cell stuff. Look into that, and maybe this could be a gift in a way for you to not have to deal with the pain pills or whatever.
Yeah.
Because with all the technology and all the stuff that they're coming up with, you know, my brother he's been doing a deep dive in research because it's a last ditch effort. And the thing is, we're not going to give up.
Right.
Can't. And we're not. Yeah, exactly. We're not going to give up. We're going to keep moving forward. I can't wait to sit and watch you do what you're doing. Amber, I want to say thank you today for running the show, taking Chase's place today for me.
No problem.
He's off doing rehearsal he's got a big opera show this weekend.
It will be the end of this month. He'll leave for Austria.
Oh, that's right.
That's wild.
Yeah, isn't that cool? So oh, by the way, you are the 50th episode
Really?
of a Hero's Journey podcast.
That's awesome.
1 year ago yesterday, 1 year ago, it was Saturday. So this comes out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But 1 year ago, this past Saturday, I dropped my first episode of a Hero's Journey podcast.
That's awesome.
So you are 50.
That's awesome.
So I appreciate it, man. Is there any last words that you want to leave anybody?
The biggest thing is, like, I know a lot of people out there struggle, and I know a lot of people deal with pain and injuries. I got a lot of friends that do it. Like, you just can't give into it, man. Don't let those thoughts that'll come up, you just can't give into them because they'll be there. But just like, if you keep on pushing, you could still live life pretty good while dealing with your injuries, man. It's not the end of the road, you know?
Yeah, you've proven that to me over and over again. Dude, I appreciate our friendship.
Always.
I really do. And we'll have to have the band on the show and sit around and talk about what you guys have accomplished since this moment. It's fun for me to watch you get to do what you do right now. And I'm just so happy that there was no stopping you.
No.
And I love that you challenge yourself and you're moving forward and you're lucky to find your other half in Ashley.
100%.
And I appreciate the invite to the wedding.
Yeah.
That was really great. I'm sorry I was not in town.
Cool.
And but that's the nature of what we do as well. And so thank you for being on a Hero's Journey podcast, dude. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was awesome. I appreciate it.
It's your first podcast.
I was nervous at first. I'm like, what do I do with my hands right now?
No, you're totally good. And here's the thing: when you go do radio and things like that, that's what this is like.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just sitting and having a conversation, and hopefully you guys, Lou Tanuis, everybody, they call him Wheels. One more time, name of your band?
It's Altars of Aurin.
Altars of Aurin. I didn't want to mess it up because he kept saying people mess it up all the time before we started this show. My name is Brian Hopkins. I want to thank the sponsors, S&P Inc., JPS Computers, and to the Rock Rage Radio listeners out there. As I say, we are everywhere. Amber, thank you so much for doing this today.
It's not a problem.
And listen, you wake up every day the hero of your own story. And I'm hoping that this inspired you today. It inspired me. And it's honestly, dude, probably one of the most interesting guests I've had on this show. Thank you so much for coming. This is a Hero's Journey podcast. Guys, stay safe.
Dream, and I believe it's coming around to me.